Hello from Mid-Ohio. We're here for the final round of America's Rallycross 2019. We've had quite an interesting morning, to say the least. There are water covers over the cameras. We've got our shade on top of us here, and it's not for sunshine. Let's put it that way. Bucky, we've had quite heavy rain overnight.
Yeah, we have. The track is wet. They've been grooming it. They did some tire. They moved the chicane onto the back straight. Kind of took the 90-degree turn back onto the tarmac so that they can save those cars from that lip that's going to be created.
Yeah, it was super slippery this morning. Some of the rescue vehicles were struggling for grip. And I mean, it doesn't seem, there's not a standing water out there now. The sun's out. Temperatures, I mean, what do we got? We haven't got it on screen, but it's about 20 degrees Celsius. Bucky, what's that in Fahrenheit, roughly? What do you think, 70, 80?
It's usually about double. Yeah,
okay,
it's about 70, 80.
Well, there we go. It's warm enough that the track is dry. The tarmac's actually dry, but there is mud everywhere out there on the circuit. We saw the cars in free practice, which was delayed. I know you guys have been waiting at home, so apologies for that, but they had to make sure everything was okay. And it is super, super slippery. So it's going to be an interesting session. Of course, Tanner Faust, the championship leader, is looking to not have any issues. The guys all said last night they don't care if it rains. They didn't mind if it was dry, as long as it was the same for everyone. And it is. It's just really slippery for everyone. So going to be an interesting morning. Stay with us. If you missed yesterday, take a look at back what happened in Q1 and Q2. The first race of the day saw Steve Arpin go up against 3 of the Subarus. Great start by Chris Atkinson, saw him with the whole shot. Arpin made a brave joker and managed to get past 1 of the 3 blue machines. But it was Atkinson out front, setting some pretty impressive lap times, and no challenge from his teammates, a win for the Australian. On to race 2. Tanner Faust and Cabot Bigham in this one with fantastic starts in the Beetle. Faust wasn't sure the Beetle would start so well uphill as it had at Kota last time out, but no problem with the whole shot for him. A battle for Bigham with Pico in the background, but Tanner Faust out front chasing down the times of Chris Atkinson. It was super close, but it was Tanner Faust who would take the session by the tiniest of margins. On to Q2, and it was Andreas Backerud versus Cabot Bigham. Bigham got a better start, but he made a mistake in this corner on 2 laps in a row. Backerud let him get away with it on the first one, but the second time he pushed the big Subaru through. He then set about showing why he's one of the stars of the World Rallycross Championship. Some fantastic lap times to recover from a relatively average Q1. He sets the fastest time in the first race of Q2. On to race 2, Tanner Faust, the championship leader versus 3 Subarus. Another epic start for Faust, saw him miles in front in the Beetle. The Subarus tried as hard as they could to spoil Tanner's party, but they just couldn't get close. Faust wins Q2 as well. So there is the results after Q2. Tanner Faust is indeed the overnight TQ. And Yoni Weeman with 2 third places. That's actually enough to see him in P2. Chris Atkinson is 3rd. Andreas Backerud is 4th. Both those guys taking a 2nd place in different qualifying sessions. Then you've got Arpin, Sandell, Bigham and Picoy. So it's advantage Tanner Faust overnight, but with the conditions this morning, Bucky, you know, he could have done without that. A nice, smooth, easy weekend would have been good.
Yeah, and it's going to be a very even playing field with the rain and the wet course. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets off the line, if he's able to get off the line as strong as he has been.
Yeah, does the data they have work still in the wet? You can see from the shadows over us that the sun has come out here, so the track is going to dry. That means the tarmac's going to be super grippy, the dirt's going to be super slippery. We've got ARX 2 coming up for you very soon. Right, let's go racing then. ARX 2 cars are on the line for their final round of the season. 9 rounds for these guys. They had double headers everywhere except for the Circuit of the Americas last time out, which was a 1-day event. Fraser McConnell in 2nd on the grid has a 29-point championship lead. Yesterday broke his car with 2 corners to go after Alex Keys passed him. He would have tied up the title then. Instead, he's going to tie up, hopefully, in qualifying this morning. Michael Leach is on the inside. Connor Martell. as well, and then we've got Cole Keats on the far side. So these guys, of course, had another random draw last night in terms of the order of names, and then they were able to pick their grid positions. So if I remember correctly, Michael Leach was the first person to choose. Great start by Fraser McConnell, but Cole Keats also with a good one. So McConnell versus Keats, and actually Michael Leach coming back at them up the inside. So Fraser McConnell manages to shut the door, but not on Keats. Keats is brave around the outside there, Bucky.
Yeah, Keats got an awesome start. I was talking to him yesterday, and he's looking for that big W. He's yet to get it. He's been second place so many times that he wants a win. So he's going to take the risk. So my eyeballs are on him.
So watch the guys now on these dirt sections, because it was so slippery this morning. They were absolutely crawling around. But Bucky, to me, the grip levels look to have come up a ton already.
Yeah, these guys have been driving the track. They've definitely gotten some grooves down.
Look at the amount of dirt there is across the grass, and that gives you a good idea of the lines. It's really hard to explain to you guys at home how slippery it was. They had to delay it. I say there was a four-wheel drive rescue vehicle out there which was struggling to get round, and it was the same for the ARX 2 cars. They were crawling, Bucky, and it looks like double pace already.
Yeah, and it looks like they put that chicane back to where it was originally.
Yeah, they took the tyre bail out this morning because they were concerned people were gonna bump into it. So Michael Leach ahead of Fraser McConnell. McConnell, of course, having jokered on lap 1 along with Martel. Cole Keats in front of them. I guess Keats will be hoping that Michael stays out, and he doesn't. So that's not what Keats would have liked. He would have liked Fraz to have been held up a little bit behind Cole Keats.
That's an off-camber turn, so you want to stay on the inside. If you get on the outside at all, you're going to hang out there, and the time is just going to tick away from you.
Fraser McConnell setting the car up sideways into that corner. That was beautifully done, wasn't it? He's gained a lot of time there. So Fraz doing a good job on this last lap. In the background, look how sideways Martel was as well. Bucky, they're having to feel everything here, aren't they? It's not just the braking, and interesting to see Keith took a different line. You know, what are you thinking here when you're trying to drive this car?
They're learning right now. Their eyes are up. They're watching the car ahead of them. They're trying to see, like, the braking points, if the car is tracking out, so they can get a little over-under on them. So, as you see there, you see Leach with the new livery on the front.
Yeah, that was done last night, wasn't it? I tell you what, Michael Leach is looking so much better than he looked yesterday. Yesterday, to me, I think there was a problem with the car because he just looked to be struggling everywhere. And this morning, look,
there was a problem. There was actually, yeah. Remember, we said the car looked like it was rear-wheel drive.
Yeah,
it was. And Michael, without the seat time, you know, he doesn't have the seat time. He just gets in and drives the car. So he didn't really have the input to give the guys to tell them that the car was only rear-wheel drive.
So a transmission issue, which he didn't really clock.
He didn't know. He was just driving it. So they fixed the problem, and now he's out here.
So Keats is in P2, having taken his joke, and McConnell's managed to edge him.
Martel dropped off a bit.
Yeah, Connor's struggling, isn't he? It's unusual. So Michael Leach ahead of him. Little nudge there from Cole Keats. Now, basically, Fraser McConnell, 29-point lead from Keats, who's just in behind him. Fraz really only has to finish a session, and in theory, he's champion because he'll pick up points from qualifying even if he finishes P8. But he's not going to celebrate until the end of qualifying because that's the point at which the points are given. You know, he could be DQ'd from the whole event for doing something terrible. So he's in the same position as Faust now, but with a much bigger advantage, Bucky, and it just plays on your mind, doesn't it? You just want to get the job done.
It does, and with Keats bumping him and touching him from behind, I mean, that's got to be driving McConnell crazy. He's got to be so nervous, so he's got to stay out in front, out of reach of Keats, because Keats is definitely going to show him his bumper and try to get by him.
Keats runs the nose a little bit wide, but I have to say I'm pleased to see the grip levels are up a little bit, particularly.
Lost some time there, but we like to see that action.
Don't mind a bit of sideways grass tracking, and also Bucky, we can see where they're dumping the mud off the inside of the rims and out of the wheel arches when they're jumping on the brake at the bottom of the straight. So the tarmac sections are tricky too, but it's Fraser McConnell, the champion-elect, who takes the first race of Sunday. Michael Leach doing really well to hold on to P3. Martel at the back. I don't think that's to Connor's liking, because we know Connor's a lot quicker than that. But Fraser McConnell will be very happy with that indeed. He's just got to wait and see now what happens in the second race, because Bucky, this track could develop really quickly, or it could stay in this sort of super tricky, slippery condition for quite some time. We don't really know. We've not seen it wet yet.
No, it seems like it's kind of coming around and getting faster. As long as the ruts don't develop, we should have some good racing.
In some ways, the ruts are less likely to develop, aren't they? Because the drivers can't do what they normally do in the braking zones.
Correct.
Here's the result then. Fraser McConnell takes it with a 4:13.6, considerably slower than yesterday thanks to the conditions. Cole Keats is second, so championship 1-2 in P1 and P2 in this first race. Michael Leach with a great drive, having had those issues with the car yesterday, and Connor Martell in fourth. So this was off the start, and again, Bucky, the start grid look is different levels of dry across the grid, so that could play into people's hands according to where their slot is.
It looked a little drier where Keats had staged up. Here, this is just going to get super greasy throughout the day. You see Connor sending it there. Leach peels off into the Joker. And this is where Keats rejoins with McConnell. McConnell is able to hold the lead.
Okay, so we've got some messages through from race control as well, which I'll talk you through in the next race, and that's to do with track conditions. I've been a viewer of Rallycross for a long time. We've had a similar situation before at Loillac in France, the French round of the World Championship. We'll talk you through those messages in just a moment. Race 2 is on the line, and they are good to go.
Let's see if this outside position has a better start.
Yeah, it's looking drier.
We might be on to something here.
Let's take a look at the grid. Lane Vakela is on the inside. And we've got Alex Keys, Gray Ledbetter, and Sage Karam.
I believe that there's a bigger crest on the inside here where Sage.
So you think it's a little steeper, you think, on one side
I believe
compared
it's
to the
a
other?
little steeper.
It looks it across the. It does. And Vakela's
yeah,
car
look at
looks
that.
to be
See
pitched
how he's
further
lower
back. Yeah.
a little bit?
Which is interesting because some of the drivers in the random draw have chosen the outside slot ahead of one of the inside positions. So Sage Karam yesterday with those incredible starts really got his head around it. So I'm going to talk you through a couple of changes to our normal penalties as well once we get this one underway. Waiting for a thumbs up from the marshal via race control. Sage yesterday won all 3 qualifying sessions, his semi and his final, which in Rallycross terms is what we call a clean sweep. Remember, these guys only have 3 qualifying sessions because they do an event per day. We've got a little hold up for some reason, not quite sure why. Not ideal for the drivers, really. Can't see anything out on track, Bucky, can you?
No, I don't see anything.
Well, let's talk you through these penalties instead then. So instead of a penalty joker lap, a jump start is plus 15 seconds. And if anybody takes a second joker lap, that's 30-second penalty each time they take it. And that is because this morning in free practice, the standard lap was so slippery, it was a lot slower than the joker lap. Now, so we've only had that happen once before in the FIA World Rallycross Championship. There's the grid, Vakela, Keys, Ledbetter and Sage Karam. We had it at Loillac a couple of years ago, and it was damp in the morning, and the joker lap was faster. So the spotters are master tacticians, and they very quickly got round to the idea that taking the joker lap more than once, which wasn't in the rules as illegal, was going to be faster. So people started taking more than one joker. But we're on to that now. So I say there's a penalty for jumping the start is 15 seconds instead of an extra joker, because that was the other trick people were using. They were jumping the start on purpose. So perfect start by these guys. Sage Karam, Lane Vakela with a good start on the inside, but Vakela doesn't give Keys any room. Keys goes round, collects Vakela. Not sure about that one, Buck. You need to see a replay on that. You can't just turn in on someone in the car inside. You can't disappear. But then also Keys, you know, Keys turned in across Vakela. Maybe 6 to 1, half a dozen the other.
I believe there's a penalty coming.
Who for, though? You know, if Keys has shut the door on Vakela, should Vakela have backed out, or should Keys have not turned in on him?
I don't know. He kind of didn't give room, and no one's going to lift, so they could let it slide. But, yeah, he did kind of turn in on him.
Not what Keys needed. Keys is still going. He's running at the back of the pack. You might see him in the rear of your shot in a minute. Vakela, I wonder if he's got damage to that car. It was a fair old hit.
They might just let it ride on because it seems like if it was Keys' fault, he's paid the price. He's in the back of the pack.
Yeah, Keys is just coming past the commentary position now, so he's about 3-4 turns back from Sage Karam. Sage Karam yesterday was absolutely brilliant, on imperious form. Like he destroyed all the qualifying sessions. You know, even Fraz said he was really, really fast yesterday.
Yeah, all the drivers were really impressed with Sage. He just brings that skill level in this car, and as you can see, he's still attacking it in the wet as he did in the dry because he has those clean lines.
We were talking about it yesterday, weren't we, actually over dinner, and we were saying that Sage had said that it's almost slow motion to him, and that's not because Rallycross is slow, it's because he's used to IndyCar and the Indy 500.
Yeah, super fast pace, hard braking, and
200 miles an hour. Yeah. So for him, he's had to learn it still. He's still had to learn the skills, but it just doesn't happen as quickly, and he's able to process things. So Alex Keys going to try and get past Michaela this time. Got alongside him on the straight, and indeed finds good traction as well. And actually, for me, Bucky, that inside line on the brakes there is clean as well.
It possibly could be a better line, but who knows how long for. There's a lot of dirt on the outside, so it might be better to tuck inside.
We saw we saw Chris Atkinson taking the inside line on the brakes during free practice. Sage Karam bumping the car up over the curbs. You can see just little corrections, but there is grip out there now, Bucky. You know, they're moving the car around as they want to, whereas in practice it was literally, they were wait, weren't they, through the corners? Yeah, if it rains, you guys won't believe at home, if we get the slightest bit of drizzle, well, put it this way, the lap times were about 1 minute 20. They're 50 seconds now. They were 30 seconds a lap slower. That's outrageous.
Yeah, dramatically. These cars were just ice skating through the infield. I mean, I could have walked past them.
I reckon you could have ridden a bike around there almost fast around the gravel sections, and the cars were going. It was just so slippery. So whatever the dirt's made of here at Mid-Ohio, it was a serious challenge for the drivers. Gray Ledbetter is still in P2 at the moment. You're seeing the leader, Sage Karam. Karam and Ledbetter still to Joker. Alex Keys has Joker, and Alex is closing down on Gray Ledbetter now. He was 2.3 off the back, but he's a bit closer. You're going to see Sage Karam go up into the Joker lap now, and I say this was, the Joker was a lot faster. I'll be interested to see what the speed difference is now between the two. So what is Sage Karam's lap 3? So he did a 103 and a 102. So let's take a look at Sage's lap time at the end of this lap, and that'll give us an idea of what the delta is on the Joker, whether it was quicker or not. There's Keys, managing to get past Ledbetter, so disastrous start for Keys. Fraz's time was a 4:13. At the minute, Sage is on a 3:02. I think this could be quicker, you know, Bucky, than the previous session was.
It would make sense. The track is drier.
Yeah, but it could be dramatically quicker, couldn't it? Looking at it, here comes Sage Karam now around the last corner, crosses the line. 4:06. It's a lot quicker. So Alex Keys, who had that disastrous start and basically spun round, has actually beaten Fraser McConnell's time. Gray Ledbetter with a 4:13.2 also beats Fraser McConnell. So Fraz, who was out in that first race and did a great job, had a clean run out front, but the lap times just weren't there. Interestingly, Sage Karam's Joker lap was a 1:04.2. So we've gone back to normal service being resumed. The Joker lap is now, it seems, slower than the standard lap, which was not the case around an hour ago when the stewards brought these different penalties in. Sage Karam with the win. Alex Keys is P2, Gray Ledbetter P3, and Lane Vakela does finish in 4th place with a 4:25.8, just a little further back. This was the start, good start. So watch the inside. So Vakela is inside Keys there. Yeah, to be fair to Vakela, like Keys has just, Vakela can't disappear and Keys has just turned in on him, but then Keys probably can't see Vakela at that point because he's just far enough back, Bucky.
Yeah, let's see what the stewards. I don't see anything under. Yeah,
it is, yeah.
Under investigation.
Yeah, the whole of the start of this race is under investigation. So ARX 2Q1 warning for 53. So we had a warning for Cole Keats, in fact. That was in the previous race. So wait and see what the stewards say about that. But Sage Karam takes the win.
Sage, I think we're trying to make a record of how many times we can talk to you over this weekend. But tell us a little bit about the track conditions out there. It looks really slippery.
Yeah, I mean, you know, coming into ARX, I knew I had to learn how to drive in the dirt, and that was, you know, a big learning curve for me. But then mud to dirt is even bigger, I feel like, from even asphalt to dirt. So that was definitely hard. This morning was really, really hard when it was really wet. So it was a bit better in that run. I'm hoping it dries out because I don't know I don't know if I want to keep doing that. I like the dirt better than the mud for sure, but no, it was good. You know, I mean, just had a good start again, and that was kind of how I was able to get that one. I think Keys may have been a bit quicker than me at the end there, but you know, with the penalties of, you know, cutting chicanes if you miss them and stuff, I knew I had a pretty good margin of a lead in the beginning that I could just focus on just hitting my marks and bring it home in one piece. So I hope that was good enough for, you know, P1 overall in the session, but we'll see, and just got to focus on the rest of the day now.
Great. Well, good luck rest of the day, Sage.
Thank you.
It was good enough, Sage. It was good enough by 5 seconds.
Yeah,
So it was
quite a bit.
It was plenty. Alex Keys was circulating very quickly indeed. Keys with the fastest laps there. He was at 1 minute 0.4, so 60.4. Considerably slower still than yesterday, but an awful lot faster than it was this morning. And they're not taking any action on that last race start either, so they're seeing the Vakala Keys thing as a racing incident. But Sage Karam won all 3 qualifying sessions yesterday, his semi-final and his final, and these are the standings at the end of Q1 for ARX2. They're round 9 of this season. It's another session win for Sage Karam. Alex Keys, despite that start, gets P2. Gray Ledbetter up in 3rd place. Absolutely brilliant, but we know those guys were helped a bit by track conditions. Fraser McConnell looked his 4th fastest, and that is good for him because that's going to mean that he's going to be in the 2nd race in Q2, and if the track continues to develop, then that might help him out. Then it's Keats, Leach, Martel, and Lane Vakala. So a huge track development in that previous session for ARX2, Bucky.
That was dramatic.
Do you think the same here? Because I think it will be. I think the guys in this first race could end up losing a ton of time to the guys in the second one.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't think the times are going to be as different because the supercars aren't as affected with the dirt section. So I think they're able to carry more speed. But yeah, I definitely a few tenths for sure.
All right, stay with us. ARX coming up. Cars are on the line and good to go. Let's take a look at the grid for Q3 Race 1. Chris Atkinson on the inside with his teammate Patrick Sandell next to him. Those two guys are the only two who can deny Tanner Faust the title, but it is very much advantage Faust. He won both sessions yesterday, and he's in the 2nd race now to this morning as the track conditions change so dramatically. Then it's Cabot Bigham and Travis Pecoy, our 2 guys who stepped up from ARX2 to ARX this year. They've put on some spectacular shows and some great racing. 2 young drivers. Big difference in their driving styles this morning. Pecoy was in the full send mode, Colin McRae style, and Bigham was in full sort of race mode, super smooth. Johan Christophersen Rallycross style. So let's see which is going to work in these conditions. Great start, Cabot Bigham. Tanner Faust will be pleased to see that. They've got another rocket ship start. He's absolutely miles in front. Contact between Sandell and Pecoy. Pecoy gets a nudge from behind, goes sideways from Atkinson. Atkinson trying to go around the outside of Pecoy. Can't make that stick though. Pecoy's going to try and hold the inside line. Gets another nudge. Atkinson's rubbed him all the way through that joke lap. They're going to slot back in on the inside. But it's Bigham leading from Sandell. What a start. Side by side again. Bucky Atkinson trying to find a way through here. Super slippery on the brakes. He's going to dare to take a look here. And that bump's developing already.
He is glued. There he goes. He's going to get it right here. Oh, he's going to get pushed out.
Could have done with holding off and going on the inside, couldn't he? We saw the passes in ARX2 if you're going to do it there. Atkinson has taken that inside line on the brakes, backs it in big time. Ah, stunning move by Chris Atkinson. He nudges the tyres, but that was a great pass.
Great move by Atco. He's aggressive. It was a good pass. I don't know what's going to happen with those tires. They're a little bit on the track.
I hope the stewards let him off, because for me that was rap. That was proper. He backed that in rally style from about 100 feet back, didn't he? Wonderful. Great car control from Chris Atkinson. Sandell goes Joker straight away, so this is probably to protect his position from behind. He knows Atkinson and Pico have been into each other, so his spotter will have been onto him and said there's a window now, go now. Now he's got a gap and he can try and chase down Bigham, Bucky.
This is going to be good action right here. We got Acko trying to reel in Sandell, and then we have Sandell reeling in Bigham. Let's see if he can close the gap. And you can't forget about McCoy back here. He's Mr. Sen, so let's watch him too.
Yeah, I'm loving the sideways style. He really, this morning he was handbrake everywhere. It was really good. Look at Atko again, offline on the brakes. Look at Picoy picking up what he's done straight away. Sin it once, do it.
Yes, that's the eyes of a racer right there. He's seeing what's happening in front of him. He might have his spotter in his ears to help him out too. Follow Atko right now.
And that's what you were saying about the ARX2 guys as well, is it's eyes up, watch the car in front, see where they're gaining.
Yes, you got to see what the car is doing in front of you so that you can react in time, because if you're driving the same line, you know you want to get off of it if they're not able to kind of put the grip down.
Bigham into the Joker lap, so Cabot, Bigham's gone Joker on lap 3. Sandell on the inside, though's done a great lap. Sandell might get him here, he does indeed. Patrick Sandell gets into the lead past Bigham. So Cabot, Bigham's last lap compared to Sandell's not good enough. Of course, the pair of them, one Joker, one standard lap each. Bigham is right with him though. And we're starting to see a tiny bit of dust now, Bucky, as well. And look at Sandell again. The Subaru looks great, doesn't it, on the brakes? It just looks like it's nicely balanced.
Yeah, he has that foot. Sandell has a magical left foot. He's a really good ice driver. He definitely has veteran hands.
We saw Bill, didn't we, this morning from Subaru, just shouting over the fence, because we were standing watching the monitor of the timing screens. He just shouted over the fence, rally drivers.
Yes.
Like, that was it. And so he knows these boys, his squad, well, certainly the regulars, Sandell and Atko, of course, come from that rally background. And I do think in these conditions, I've always said, we said in the World Championship too, if the conditions suddenly change, you bet on the rally drivers.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the guys who'll drive round a setup. They're the guys who will try it, lots of different things, aren't they? It's always interesting to see. Atkinson not able to get past Bigham. Sandell out front. Lap times yesterday were in the 49s. Where are we here? We're on the sort of 55, 56 at the minute. So we're still 5-6 seconds a lap slower. But it is Sandell that takes the first checker flag of the day for Supercar. Cabot, Bigham gets P2. Atko and Picoy. So Travis Picoy at the back.
Bigham went from a big gap, and then Sandell closed it in.
Yeah, well, Sandell just did 2 great laps, didn't he? You know, that's you've got a pair of laps you've got to get right if they're on the opposite strategy, haven't you? The lap they Joker and the lap you Joker, and you've got to get your Joker lap right. But the standard lap too, you know, that's the time where you've got to make up every 10th. Patrick Sandell, 337.3. Good job by him. It's a 339.6 for Bigham, Atkinson and Picoy. I'll take a look at yesterday's time. So 3:37. We are around 20 seconds a session slower than we were on day 1. So this was the start. Cabot, Bigham and the Beetle.
What a start by Cabot. I mean, look at the distance. Look at the car length he put on the rest of the field.
Talking to the guys yesterday in the press conference, so of course we had Atko was up there and Johnny Weeman was up there in the top 3 last night with Faust in between them. And we were talking about how good the Subaru was at starting. If you remember the start of the year, Bucky, no one could get near them. Scott was killing all the starts. It's a great pass by Atko. But somehow Volkswagen have found something. That's what the Subaru guys were saying, is their starts are what they were. Volkswagen starts are better. Yeah, just an epic start, you know, and that's frustrating for the guys. When you go off the line like that and someone's they're not even edged you a bit. They've blown you away.
Yeah, that is devastating as a racer, as a driver, just to see someone walk you off the line every time.
Yeah.
But they closed the gap and they made the pass, so that was... The Subarus are on pace.
They are indeed.
They might not have the start.
James is with Sandell now.
A little bit of a different driving style out there now with the slipperiness, but also a really good Joker strategy to get ahead of Cabot. Was that the plan all along?
I definitely try to get away from traffic. It's always the plan. But, you know, I go to something called SubaruWinterExperience.com, and that teach you absolutely fantastic ice driving with the instructors from Dirtfish. And all this that I did right here, you can learn at SubaruWinterExperience.com.
Great. I can vouch for that as well. I've been there with Patrick. Good luck the rest of the day.
Final car for race 2 pulls up to the line. Steve Arpin rolling in. You can see Andreas Baccarat as well trying to nudge the car up to those sensors. So Baccarat and Wieman and this, of course, are here for support of Subaru's championship aspirations, whereas Faust is desperate to take the driver's title, and he's got a couple of guys in here who will race him very hard indeed. Let's take a look at the grid for Q3 Race 2. Tanner Faust on the inside has won both sessions so far. The track's developing. Can he do the same again? Andreas Baccarat and Jonny Wieman are here to try and make his life a little bit difficult. Steve Arpin on the outside can't be counted out. He's had flashes of speed at every event this year. Came so close to the win at Gateway. Here we go. So Faust is on that P1 slot. They know they liked that yesterday. They had good data for the dry. It's kind of damp, but drying on the grid. We saw Bigham start. Can Faust do the same? Or not quite. Baccarat's got a better start than Faust. Faust on the inside, though. Tanner Faust going late on the brakes. Baccarat will see him there. Dives the Beetle in. Baccarat has a look. Arpin's got around the outside of Wieman. Arpin goes P3. Faust is sideways. Arpin going to go Joker. Wieman changes his mind at the last second. Goes standard lap. Tanner Faust missed out by a couple of feet, Bucky, and then chasing back. He runs wide. Baccarat can't get up the inside, though.
Yeah, Tanner didn't get the start that he wanted, but man, he got through the gears a lot better than Andreas.
Oh, so late on the brakes. He goes sideways on the brakes. He's a bit too deep. Baccarat up the inside. Baccarat going to be on the outside now on the handbrake. Baccarat sideways. Faust is in his door. Come on, lads. Get in. Sideways, and that's Wieman's gone past. So Wieman's gone past both. How did he manage that? So Baccarat and Faust running wide. We were looking at them on the grass, and Wieman's gone, thanks very much, up the inside. Great decision not to Joker on the first lap. Arpin's gone Joker, though, and he's right with them.
Yanni, sneaky little devil getting in there. I didn't even see him coming.
No, neither did I. He would have seen Faust. That all started with Faust being too sideways off the jump.
Yeah, he got in a little too deep on the brakes, got in the grease, and he couldn't collect himself in time. Andreas got in there, he saw a hole, and Wieman just carried the momentum while these guys battled. Faust peeling off into the Joker. Keep it tight here, Tanner. Let's see.
Full send on the way in, wasn't it? But then tidier on the way out. Tanner Faust going to merge behind Steve Arpin. So Arpin's looking good here. Steve Arpin could be a threat to Baccarat and Wieman. Depends what kind of lap times those guys can get in. Arpin's car looks like it's underneath him. He looks tidy.
Yeah, he does.
Go on, Steve. I'd like to see Steve Arpin get a win. He's tried so hard this year. He came so close, didn't he, at St. Louis, and Atco.
Well, as you speak, he sends it, and so does Tanner, but I think Tanner did it more on purpose, seeing that Arpin made a mistake.
Contact there between them. Yeah, Tanner got on the handbrake, didn't he? Arpin's back up the inside. Tanner didn't have a lot of choice, so he had to get on the handbrake to try and get up the inside. Contact between those two, I think, accidental. Okay, so we're seeing we've got a penalty for Chris Atkinson from the first race. 5-second penalty for avoidable contact. That's not going to affect these guys too much because it was Sandell that was the pace setter. Faust and Arpin on the standard lap. Wieman, the only man not to have jokered. There's Baccarat around the outside. So Baccarat comes in front. So Andreas Baccarat is in front of Faust and Arpin. These guys are in the, what are they, in 53s and 54s. Oh, so close on the inside. Steve Arpin is right underneath Faust.
Yeah, he's glued to Faust's bumper right now.
Interesting backwards on that inside braking zone that we saw Chris Atkinson doing as well. And that bottom corner is still probably the most greasy corner here, Bucky, the one that's right in front of our commentary position. It's still damp, there's a lot of mud on it.
You can just see the mud and dirt just dumped in the braking zone on the outside there. So that's why a lot of the guys are staying inside, kind of taking the wet line. One
thing I'm really enjoying here is that the guys are having to use the proper style of sideways driving. You know, to make the car transition, they've got to chuck it.
Yeah, these cars will not turn. If you try to drive it in hard, they will not turn. So you got to flick it with the handbrake.
Wieman coming in from the Joker lap in front of Andreas Baccarat. So Jonny Wieman's last-minute decision to Joker on the first lap was absolute genius. Bottom right of your screen, 3:37.3 is the target time of Patrick Sandell. He's got a good length of time to get down to that last corner. The track, I think, is still getting considerably faster.
See Atco?
Oh, look at Baccarat as well, chasing him down.
Baccarat on the inside, taking Atco's line, I mean.
Here comes Wieman. Over the final corner, takes the session. So Jonny Wieman, 3:33.3 is the fastest in Q3. Wieman, 4 seconds faster, look. It's a huge gap.
Track conditions have definitely changed. It's gotten a lot faster.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to continue to change into Q4. Jonny Weeman takes the race and the session. He is the fastest in Q3. His teammate backward behind, Tanner Faust and Steve Arpin third and fourth. But those guys, well, let's see where they go into the overall times from Q3. So Sandell was fastest before this one, but the grip levels have come up again. Tanner Faust was super brave, wasn't he, on the brakes there into the first corner and got the whole shot. Weeman's decision not to joker was the right one.
Totally the right decision, and there is no one that's going to outbrake Tanner.
There was that mistake that Tanner made. So then backward, had a look up the inside here. Tanner's having none of it. They both flipped the car the other way. You can see there. In fact, there wasn't a lot of contact there, to be fair, but by now Weeman has already gone, thank you very much, and just chucked it straight up the inside. Steve Arpin had one wheel on the grass there on the outside. Bit of contact between them. A couple of very strong supercars there to withstand that. That was backward coming into the merge in front of Faust and Arpin, but none of them were anywhere near Jonny Weeman. Fantastic performance by the Finn. He's fastest in Q3.
Jonny, a last-minute decision to take the joker, but it paid off, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we had a plan to not go behind the Backward or Faust into the normal lap, but when I saw Steve going to the joker, I thought I just have to follow them, and luckily they made a bit of contact, and I got past both of them, and from there I just gave everything I had, and I think it was a very good run.
Great, well, good luck the rest of the day.
Sorry about the sound there on the camera, but Weeman, great decision, and it was a last-minute decision, Bucky. At the start there, he kind of lost out in the start, saw what was going in front of him, and just was he was going to go joke, and then no, I'm not.
I believe that was a driver decision. There's no way a spotter could get in his ear that fast to make that decision, not to peel off into the joker and follow. He drove the gap, which was to his benefit.
Absolutely, brilliant performance. And then, of course, the battle between Faust and Backward was great.
That was
we
awesome.
saw we saw them going for it at Kota, of course, last weekend. But sideways on the grass here, and Weeman just snuck up the inside and took the lead. So much faster. In fact, in that session, so we had Weeman on a 33, Backward on 34. I'm just looking at the timing screen to the right here. 36 for Faust. And in fact, Arpin even was on a 37. So Sandell beat Arpin by 0.4 of a second. So even with all that action, you can just see how much faster it was in this second race. Well, let's take a look at the standings then after Q3. Tanner Faust still at the top of the table because he was P3 in Q3. Jonny Weeman taking the win there, and that means he holds on to second place. Backward is in third. Then you've got Atkinson, Sandell, Arpin, Bigham and Peacoy. The four Subarus are so close to the Volkswagen, but they're not going to be able to stop him. They've got one session left if they want to try. It's just one more session of qualifying here at Mid-Ohio. Is it going to be enough to crown Tanner Faust the champion? Okay. So we got about don't worry, stuff happens off camera. You guys don't need to know. They know in the truck. So we've only got about half an hour. So the schedule that you'll have had from earlier in the weekend to say that unfortunately this morning, because the track was so wet and slippery and they had to make those alterations to it, and they actually even gave the drivers an extra lap of practice, which is unheard of, but it was that slippery that they all needed it. So great session here. Tanner Faust definitely with the advantage. Same for Fraser McConnell. Keep an eye on the social media channels or just sit there in front of your TV and wait for the next session. It's fine. It's only going to be about half an hour. We'll see you then.